Stop scrolling. What I'm about to tell you could save your life, your family, and every dollar you've ever saved. Right now, as you watch this, someone just signed a lease in a town where the ground is literally on fire. Someone else just closed on a dream lake house where over 700 people have died in unexplained accidents. Another family is unpacking boxes in a retirement community with higher STD rates than a college campus. They have no idea what's coming. Over 40 million Americans will relocate this year. Most will be fine, but thousands, maybe tens of thousands, are walking straight into disasters so catastrophic, so life-destroying, that 5 years from now, they'll still be trying to recover financially, emotionally, and mentally. These aren't just bad neighborhoods or rough areas. We're talking about places where the EPA bought out every single home and told people to run. Towns where the entire population lives in one building with a nightly curfew. A state capital that ran out of drinking water for weeks. A gorgeous lake that locals genuinely believe is cursed because the body count keeps rising. The real estate industry won't tell you this. Zillow won't show you these statistics. Your realtor has zero incentive to mention that your affordable dream home sits on toxic waste or in the path of annual wildfires. But I will. Because choosing wrong isn't just inconvenient. It's a life-altering catastrophe that could cost you everything you've worked for. Today, I'm exposing the 12 absolute worst places to move in America for 2026. These locations aren't just struggling, they're traps designed to destroy unprepared newcomers. By the time we hit number 1, you'll understand why thousands of people are desperately trying to escape a place that looks like paradise, but hides something truly sinister beneath the surface. If you're planning to move anywhere in the next year, you need to watch every second of this video. Your future depends on it. Let's begin. 12. Eagle Pass, Texas. Permanent whiplash. Eagle Pass sits on the U.S.-Mexico border, caught in permanent whiplash between peace and chaos. 1 week it's quiet. The next week it's the epicenter of national crisis, with cameras everywhere. Median household income, $32,000, less than half the national average. Poverty rate, 30%. Jobs are limited to government, retail, and low-wage service work. Summer heat regularly hits 110 degrees. Healthcare requires long drives to specialists. The constant instability wears people down faster than any crime statistic. Schools feel underfunded. Infrastructure is stretched dangerously thin. Growth comes in unpredictable bursts, then stalls completely. Financially, it looks cheap until you realize wages are proportionally low. That gap never closes. You're living in a town that's perpetually politicized, constantly under a microscope, always reacting instead of planning its own future. 11. Tonopah, Nevada, the forgotten mining town. Tonopah sits between Vegas and Reno like Nevada forgot to finish the map. Population, 2,000 and dropping. Median income, $50,000, but jobs are scarce. Government, mining, or watching tumbleweeds. Rent averages $850 for outdated housing. The closest hospital is over an hour away. Weather cycles between brutal heat and freezing cold. Your social life? A saloon from 1952, a historic cemetery, and some very opinionated locals. Living here sounds romantic for 72 hours. Then reality hits. Grocery options are severely limited. You can't get a plumber without summoning one from another time zone, and asking about Starbucks gets you escorted out. You become local news just by arriving. New person spotted at gas station makes headlines. 10. Jackson, Mississippi, the capital without water. In 2022, Mississippi's capital completely ran out of clean drinking water. Not for hours, for weeks. This wasn't bad luck. It was predictable, preventable, and ignored. Population, 150,000 and dropping fast. Poverty rate, 25%. Violent crime, 92.6 per 10,000, 4 times the national average. Median home value, $60,000 because nobody's buying. The water pipes are over 100 years old. Living here means rolling the dice every time you turn on the tap, drive over potholes deep enough to host koi fish, or send kids to schools that close unexpectedly. You're constantly replacing appliances destroyed by contaminated water, paying higher insurance premiums, and missing work during infrastructure crises. Jackson's potholes aren't minor bumps. They're legitimate terrain features. One resident hit one so catastrophically bad, his car radio physically changed stations from the impact. 9. East St. Louis, Illinois. 7 times the crime homes cost less than used Honda Civics and still feel overpriced. Once industrial and prosperous, now defined by devastating crime statistics. Violent crime, over 180 incidents per 10,000 residents, 7 times the national average. Poverty rate, 37%. Median home price, $42,000 and falling. Unemployment, 12%. Population has dropped by half since 1950. The job market runs on vibes and prayers. You'll buy cheap initially, but spend it all back on underfunded schools, collapsing infrastructure, and limited emergency response times. Sidewalks? Gone. Streetlights? Non-functional for over a decade. The city has entire blocks where you genuinely can't tell where the road ends and the curb begins because both have crumbled into dust. 8. Williston, North Dakota. The frozen bust. Once an oil boom town with opportunity everywhere, now a frozen bust. Cost of living, 7% above national average. Rent, $1,200 monthly in a place where winter lasts 9 months and summer is basically a rumor. The oil job market cooled dramatically. Temperatures hit 30 degrees before wind chill. Add wind and it feels like Mother Nature is exfoliating your soul. Your nightlife options? One bar with a dartboard or Walmart before closing. You came for money during the boom. Now you stay because your car literally won't start in 40 degrees weather, and leaving requires resources you don't have. Weather safety is simple. Don't touch metal with bare skin or you'll permanently fuse with it. Roads aren't plowed, just respectfully acknowledged and avoided. Some days you physically can't open your door because snow drifts block the exit, like nature's stay-home order. 7. Paradise, California. The Tinderbox. The 2018 Camp Fire destroyed 90% of Paradise in hours, killing dozens. That wasn't a freak accident. It was a preview of the future. Wildfire risk remains among the absolute highest in the United States. Population dropped from 26,000 to around 13,000. Insurance is either brutally expensive or completely unavailable. Many companies stopped covering Paradise entirely. Power shutoffs are now routine. Living here means budgeting for insurance cancellations, planned blackouts lasting days, smoke seasons that completely erase summer, and the constant mental calculation. If it happens, again, do we leave for good? You're paying Bay Area adjacent prices without any Bay Area opportunities, jobs, or amenities. Emotionally, you live with a packed emergency go bag sitting permanently by the door. Evacuation routes are 2-lane mountain roads perpetually one accident away from complete chaos and gridlock. 6. Dillingham, Alaska, the $9 milk town. Dillingham sits on Bristol Bay's edge, surrounded by stunning beauty and brutal economic reality. Groceries cost 2.5 times the national average. A gallon of milk, $9 or more. No roads lead in or out. You fly or float, both expensive and weather dependent. Jobs depend entirely on seasonal fishing. Medical care is basic at best. The price of solitude here is literally the price. You pay more for everything. There's romanticism around rural Alaska until you're actually paying $20 for a single frozen pizza and learning that urgent care means wait for the next bush plane to land, which could be several days away. Grocery shopping isn't casual. It's military-level strategy involving budgets, backup lists, thermal gloves, and multiple credit cards in case one hits its limit on peanut butter alone. 5. Slab City, California, the last free place. Welcome to the last free place in America, an off-grid desert settlement built on abandoned military base concrete slabs. No electricity, no plumbing, no running water, definitely no HOA. Median income, $8,000 per year. Not a typo. Crime rates aren't officially tracked by any agency, which is somehow more terrifying than if they were high. Summer temperatures regularly hit 120 deplorable. The ground literally cooks your flip-flops while you're wearing them. There's no police force, no fire department, no trash pickup, no mail delivery. A Reddit nomad perfectly captured it. The only place I've ever seen someone get into a fight with a cactus and lose. Badly. If you're genuinely escaping society and structure, Slab City rolls out the sand-colored carpet. If you want stability, healthcare access, or socks that don't physically melt to your feet, look literally anywhere else. Your GPS announces you've arrived and points at a rusted school bus surrounded by hubcaps and suspicious goats. Street signs are optional suggestions. Wi-Fi is mythical. That weird humming sound at night has never been explained and probably never will be. 4. Kalaupapa, Hawaii. The beautiful prison, pristine white sand beaches, lush green mountains, perfect Pacific breeze. The catch? You literally cannot drive there. Ever. Kalaupapa sits on Molokai, completely cut off by 2,000-foot cliffs. Accessible only by boat, small plane, or a treacherous mule trail. Population: under 70 people total. 0 grocery stores. Internet speeds from 1998. Closest real hospital, 90 minutes away by plane, weather permitting. The dark history. This was once a government-enforced leprosy colony where people were exiled and forgotten. That heavy vibe still lingers everywhere. The state actively restricts residency. You can't just decide to move here. Infrastructure isn't just limited, it's frozen at historic site level, deliberately preserved. Homes are tied to the national park system. The vibe is ghost town with gorgeous lighting. Imagine finally arriving after a complicated journey. You unpack, step outside to enjoy the view, and immediately realize with horror that you forgot to buy toilet paper. No store exists. The ferry canceled due to weather. Now it's just you, a coconut, and profound regret. 3. Yuba County, California. Disaster bingo. On paper, it sounds decent. Quiet Northern California, affordable homes, reasonably close to Sacramento. Reality tells a different story. Crime rate, 47% higher than national average. Unemployment well above state levels. Flood risk? Check. Wildfire risk? Check. Extreme summer heat that feels personally aggressive? Also check. Healthcare requires long drives and longer waits. You'll save money on housing initially, but spend it all back immediately on insurance, long commutes, and constant disaster preparation. Good luck getting affordable fire or flood insurance in a county that's basically a natural disaster bingo card where every square eventually gets marked. Half the traffic lights in Olivehurst don't function. Highway 70 during construction? You're trapped in a detour loop that somehow sends you back to the same gas station you left 20 minutes ago. Picture mid-July, oppressive dry heat, faint wildfire smell drifting from the north, your neighbor's rooster screaming at a dirt bike going 5 miles. Your iced tea completely melted. Even the ice is gone. And you still face a 45-minute drive to the nearest decent grocery store. 2. Whittier, Alaska. The one-building town America's strangest town. Population, 200 people, every single one living in one 14-story building called Baggage Towers. Your private home, the police station, the grocery store, the church, the post office, the laundromat. Everything under one roof, accessible only via a single tunnel that literally closes every night. An actual town curfew enforced by geography itself. Winter lasts a brutal 8 months minimum. Wind feels like getting repeatedly slapped by ice. Jobs are mostly seasonal tourism and government positions. Crime is surprisingly low, probably because there's literally nowhere to run or hide. But the downsides are massive. Extreme social isolation, winters that never end, severely limited health care, unreliable supply chains, and absolutely zero privacy. If your neighbor burns toast, you smell it 3 floors away. Imagine getting locked inside your entire town because the mountain tunnel closes at night. Sorry, boss, can't make the meeting. I live in a literal bunker and it's locked. Want pizza delivery? Plan a week ahead. Want sunlight? Wait until May. Want a normal outdoor walk? You're doing laps in the hallway between the community library and Janet's laundry line. 1. Lake Lanier, Georgia. The lake that whispers names. The surface looks like paradise. Peaceful, scenic, perfect. The statistics tell a horror story. Lake Lanier is a massive man-made lake northeast of Atlanta, originally created in the 1950s by deliberately flooding several entire towns. Churches, cemeteries, complete streets, all still preserved underwater, like a submerged ghost town. Now it's a popular boating and vacation destination with over 700 miles of shoreline and a reputation that makes even longtime locals genuinely nervous. Here's why it earned the #1 spot on this list. Over 700 deaths since the lake opened. Over 700 people dead. Boating accidents, unexplained drownings, freak incidents that investigators can't fully explain. In 2022 alone, there were 8 confirmed drownings and 6 serious boat crashes, according to Georgia Department of Natural Resources. Locals swear the lake has some kind of pulling force, whether that's metaphorically haunted or literally dangerous, depends on who you ask. But the body count doesn't lie. Infrastructure around the lake is severely outdated and completely overwhelmed. Traffic becomes an absolute nightmare every weekend. Emergency services are stretched dangerously thin, trying to cover too much area. Housing near the lake is expensive, but doesn't come with any urban amenities whatsoever to justify those premium prices. Living near Lake Lanier feels like constantly flirting with danger, disguised as recreation. Sure, you get beautiful lake views and peaceful vibes on calm days. But behind that Instagram-perfect postcard is a brutal track record and zero guarantees of safety. The area struggles with overdevelopment, chronically understaffed emergency crews, and a wild party boat culture that feels like a volatile mixture of yacht club pretension and bar fight waiting to explode. Traffic is genuinely insane. There are only 2 decent roads leading in and out. If one closes for any reason, accident, construction, weather, congratulations, you now live at the lake forever with no escape route. 1 minute, you're peacefully kayaking past a stunning sunset. The next minute, you're trapped in a heated Facebook argument about whether or not the lake is legitimately cursed by the souls of the drowned towns beneath it. The Wi-Fi is spotty. The boaters are aggressive. And your neighbor's backyard features an expensive dock, multiple jet skis, and at least one elaborate conspiracy theory about what's really happening underwater. Imagine soft mornings with cool lake air, quiet canoe rides under beautiful sunrise light, birds flying overhead, trees shimmering on the glassy water. Now imagine that underneath all of that natural beauty lies the literal skeleton of a flooded town, complete with preserved buildings and graves, and your neighbors keep calling it the lake that eats boats and whispers names at night. Suddenly, that beauty feels wrong, slightly off, deeply unsettling. Lake Lanier, where your HOA fees are astronomical, your odds of encountering something weird are even higher, and the water may or may not be whispering your name while you sleep. Conclusion. There you have it, the 12 worst places to move in America for 2026, ranked from bad to absolutely catastrophic. These aren't just challenging locations or fixer-upper opportunities. These are potential life-destroying mistakes that could cost you everything. From underground fires that have burned for over 60 years to entire towns existing in single buildings, from lakes with terrifying body counts to state capitals that can't provide clean drinking water. These places represent the absolute worst decisions you could make. Moving is already one of the most stressful experiences in life. Don't make it exponentially worse by accidentally choosing a place that's actively sinking, literally burning, regularly flooding, or potentially haunted by the ghosts of drowned towns. Do your research beyond the Zillow listing. Look past the cheap rent and ask the critical question, why is it so cheap? Question everything. Your future self will thank you profusely. Like this video if you're simultaneously terrified and fascinated by these locations. Subscribe if you want to avoid accidentally moving somewhere that's literally on fire underground or built on top of a flooded cemetery. Share this with anyone currently scrolling through Zillow at midnight, making questionable life decisions. And remember this crucial lesson. In real estate, as in life, if something seems too good to be true, it's probably built directly on top of a flooded town, an eternal coal fire, or 700 unexplained deaths. Choose wisely. Your life literally depends on it.